Here's an episode of How to Analyse Poetry from the Learning Cauldron. Today, we'll be looking at Liz Lochhead's poem, Revelation. Analysing poetry involves identifying and dissecting the literary techniques that the poet has used effectively to explore the theme or themes of a poem. In her poem, Revelation, Liz Lochhead explores the themes of childhood and loss of innocence, evil and the awareness of it, gender and change. The title of the poem, Revelation, is the name of the last book of the New Testament of the Bible. However, it also means a moment of truth or realisation, an epiphany. And for the poet Liz Lochhead, this occurred when she was a child visiting a farm to collect eggs and milk. She starts in the first person voice, I remember. And this is not nostalgia, she's at pains to stress. This is a memory, a personal memory. And her overriding memory is of the black bull that she is shown. The word choice of black here is symbolic because it hints at evil, which is one of the main themes of the poem. And bull is the epitome of masculinity, so that is also symbolic. A bull symbolises maleness, if you like. Whereas eggs and milk are traditional symbols of fertility and new life and females. We come to the name of the bull, Bob. It almost sounds a little ridiculous because of the consonants of the two B's. And what Liz Lochhead points out is that you can't make something evil less evil just by giving it a nice name. She says, as though perhaps you could reduce a monster, and there's a metaphor to describe the bull, with the charm of a friendly name. And what she's pointing out here is that you can't. And the enjambment here is effective in helping to emphasise that. The word choice here of threshold is a crossover point. And this is because this is also a poem about change. Her journey from being an innocent child to suddenly having an awareness of evil in the world. When she looks in at the bull, someone holds her hand, and that's very much showing how she's an innocent child, still holds the hand of a grown-up. The word choice of black appears here again, so once again we're reminding it of evil. And all the senses are called into play here. This is a very sensory and evocative poem. The hot reek of him. Reek is a rather unpleasant word for smell, a strong smell. And again, it's creating a picture of something unpleasant and ultimately evil. Word choice of immense adds to the threatening nature of this creature, and the fact that his edges merge with the darkness is emphasised with the assonance there, and darkness again keeps the mood subdued and sinister. As we move on, there's a lot of sound. We've got big bulk to describe the bull, the use of alliteration there, and the harsh B sound, and then the onomatopoeia of roar. And so we really are using all the senses, not just what he looks like, but the smell of him and also the sound. And here, the word choice of scared emphasises her reaction to seeing this creature and all the noise and the smell of him. The use of sound continues on the next line with more onomatopoeia, clanking, to describe the sound of the chain that holds this creature. And of course, the chain could break, which means there is a threat in the air of what might happen if evil were to escape. Here, the use of monosyllabic words is particularly effective. We have tense with the chain's jerk. All of those words are just one syllable, and somehow this seems to add to the threat and the suspense and the tightness of the chain. Moving on, in the next couple of lines, there are a couple of examples of excellent imagery. Firstly, the metaphor of the great wedge of his tossed head. And if you think of the shape of a wedge, it's triangular. And if you have a look at a picture of a bull, you will see that the head is actually quite triangular in shape. So it's a very evocative way, this metaphor of describing the shape of the bull's head. And in the next line, we've got the use of both sound and imagery. We've got the alliteration or even consonants of R's in he roared his rage. Nice short sentence there as well. His nostrils gaped like wounds. A wound immediately suggests the idea of damage, the potential damage that the bull could do if he breaks that chain, and the use of the simile to describe the inside of his nostrils being red and raw helps us to picture very evocatively what this animal looks like and why she would have found him threatening and terrifying, in fact. In the second stanza, there's a lot of interesting word choice. In the first line, we have the word yard, reminding us of the setting at the farm where this is all taking place. This word oblivious is particularly interesting. It suggests naivety, not being aware of something, and in this case, the poet has become aware of the evil, but she notices that the hens, which are symbolic of females, are not aware of the danger of the bull that lurks inside the outhouse. In the third line here, The soft F sound in faint and festive contrasts the way that the hens perceive the noise, whereas the poet thinks of it as a clanking sound. They think the chain sounds faint and rather festive, showing once again that they are not aware of the danger. So that's an interesting alliteration there. And even the word choice of festive tinkling, it creates a soft and gentle sound compared to the harshness of the sound that the poet described earlier. The word choice of mellow, which means relaxed and not in any way threatening, is also interesting, again suggesting that the hens do not know about the danger out there. All they know is the fact that they can hear the chain tinkling, as they think. The use of enjambment here is effective in making us wait for what they knew about, all they knew of that black mass. The black mass is a satanic version or inversion of the Catholic Mass, a traditional religious ceremony, and it is suggesting evil again because the involvement of the devil and other evil spirits. And notice the capitalization of black mass to draw attention to this evil creature as she perceives it. We've got assonance of black mass and at, and then we've got more assonance with straining at his chains, and this all helps to create an idea, a feeling of suspense, and also the tension and the fact that the chain might eventually break. We've got the use of the first person voice here reminding us this is a personal experience, and the poet says that she'd always half known that this evil existed. And then we've got more assonance with antidote and antichrist, another reference to the devil here. The word choice of threatening here emphasises that the child who came to the farm is now well aware of evil in the world and feels intimidated by it. And we're reminded of her innocence when she came with the references to eggs and placidity of milk, with a soft, gentle sound of placidity. And this contrasts starkly with the stronger, harsher words that have been used to describe maleness previously. The third and final stanza starts again with first-person voice. I ran. She's fleeing in fear of what she's found at the farm. And here we invoke yet another of the senses. We've had sound, sight, smell, and this time we've got touch. The feel of the pigtails that she wore thumping, alien, which means strange, on my back in fear. And suddenly these symbols of childhood, the pigtails, are no longer feeling right. They feel uncomfortable to her, showing that she has undergone some sort of change as she's had this experience at the farm. The word choice of fear here emphasises the fact that she is terrified. And the alliteration of the harsh B sound here in big boys is reminiscent of the description of the bull as a big bulk earlier on in the first stanza. She suddenly sees the boys in a different light following this revelation that she has had at the farm after her encounter with the bull, and she thinks of them as young men who pull the wings from butterflies and blow up frogs with straws, all rather unpleasant behaviour and adding to the negativity that she now feels towards the male of the species. The word choice of thorned here, meaning sharp and prickly, means that she's uncomfortable with the way she now feels, and also a reference to thorns from the Bible, because Jesus wore a thorned crown when he was crucified. Word choice of scared here adds to the feeling of fear, and she is afraid that the eggs will shatter. She's not quite sure what her future holds, and this is a negative feeling about what was previously something so innocent at the beginning of the poem. And the fact that her hand is shaking as she holds the jug of milk helps to emphasise her fear and apprehension. The assonance in rim, in case the milk should spill, also emphasises the fact that this is something important to her and that it has changed her in some way. And the word choice of milk and eggs refer us back, it's a cyclical structure, refer us back to the eggs and milk at the beginning of the poem. And the final word, the word choice of spill, emphasises the upset to her emotions that this experience of meeting Bob the bull on the farm has caused. Overall, there's no rhyme scheme in this poem, which seems actually very appropriate because it's just a very natural and spontaneous recollection of an event that happened when the poet was a child. The tone changes across the poem from reflective, as Lochhead starts recalling the experience, to sinister, as she encounters the bull and becomes aware of the existence of evil, to fearful and uncertain by the final stanza. I hope that's been helpful. See you next time. In other videos, we analyse more of Liz Lochhead's poems. If you found this or any of our other videos useful, it would be great if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for your support.